Five Nights at Freddy's just got a bunch of news with a sequel to the FNAF movie finally coming, a release date and trailer for Help Wanted 2 that contains a ton of details, big FNAF drama, rumors of another game coming next year, and so much more. So starting off most recently, we got a brand new trailer for FNAF Help Wanted 2, the long-awaited VR sequel to the first game, that this time when watching shows off a bunch of different game modes that the player will be able to play, including some much more up-to-date mini-games using characters from Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach in the Pizza Place for a super nice change. And while the trailer is cool, more importantly, the devs at Steel Wool also released a deep devlog detailing all of the gameplay details for the new title, reading, in Help Wanted 2, there are 6 categories of mini-games: backstage, fastcade, staff only, food prep, ticket booth, and a special category containing new VR versions of Five Nights at Freddy's sister location gameplay. Meaning, as we theorized from the first teaser trailer, a big part of Help Wanted 2 is going to be focused on recreating a lot of the missions from FNAF's sister location, which works absolutely perfect in my opinion, since most of that game is based on maintaining all of the animatronics. And we can even see in the trailer there is a section with Ballora in the private room area of the game, meaning not only will there be some sister location mini games, but we will also get to play the secret custom night mode as well, which the devs elaborate on, saying, if you're short on dread, dive into the world of Five Nights at Freddy's sister location. Between keeping Funtime Freddy busy while repairing electrical breakers, or surviving a classic security office game until 6 a.m., this fan favorite brought to life is as fun as it is terrifying. It's an experience littered with custom VR gameplay, meaning the game won't just be a port, but there will also be some new mechanics tailored towards the VR version, which will be cool. And plus, the devlog talks more about other games like a Pizzaplex salon with Roxanne Wolf, where you do makeup on Roxy, which we see in the trailer, Bonkaban and Phaser Blast, which are more reflex arcade style games. There's even electrical maintenance and food service, so this game is going to have everything. Even looking back at the trailer, you can see some super hyped appearances from characters like Music Man, Scrap Baby, Foxy, even Helpy, who we have to cure from rabies for some reason. But this is all especially cool since it is a PS VR 2 exclusive, meaning if you have a PlayStation VR 2 with eye tracking and headset rumble, those features will also work in this title, or the devs also announced it will be playable without these features on PC as well, releasing on December 14th, 2023. So it'll release in a few weeks, which is insane. But if you can't wait that long, along with this announcement, the devs also announced an expansion to the base Help Wanted called FNAF Help Wanted Full-Time Edition, which essentially just optimized the old PSVR and PlayStation 4 Help Wanted for new-gen consoles with new updated graphics. However, if you don't own a PlayStation, unfortunately, none of this will really apply to you. Next up, there's been a little bit of FNAF drama recently as a brand new fan game release that was heavily inspired by the recently canceled fanverse game Five Nights at Freddy's Plus. And a bit after this game released a couple months ago, it absolutely exploded in popularity. You probably saw it everywhere on TikTok and YouTube over the past couple weeks. However, with the release of the game, it got heavy criticism from audiences for first taking a lot of the design style from the original FNAF Plus, and a lot of people were marketing the game almost as if it was official. I saw a lot of people thinking it was the actual game that released, and plus the phone calls given throughout the game's nights were actually done using an AI voice of Scott Cawthon's phone guy to recreate new calls, and the game was, technically speaking, a recreation of FNAF 1, a paid game, so you could also argue it's pirating. Now, this controversy, while relatively minor, actually caused Scott Cawthon to make a response speaking out against using AI, and a bunch of massive YouTubers who actually made content about this FNAF Plus recreation ended up actually being asked by Scott to take them all down. So this quickly became a big deal at the time a couple weeks ago. However, fast forward to today, the creator has since taken the game down, started redubbing the voice acting.
Hey there, welcome to Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria.
And is waiting for any type of Scott approval before reposting and recreating the game, which, to be honest, I doubt will ever happen. But it's nice to see at least a somewhat happy ending. Moving on into FNAF movie news briefly, the film came out about a month ago at this point, and so naturally, the other day, a physical version of the film is now being sold online for pre-order, coming out here on December 12th. And this new version is actually going to include a bunch of cool things like behind the scenes and commentary over the actual making of the film, which will be nice. But now that the movie has released and has become the biggest horror film in all of 2023, people are already wondering when or if there will be a sequel. Since before the film release, the devs and even Scott Cawthon expressed interest in having a second and even a third movie, with Matthew Lillard, the actor for William Afton, even already being signed to a potential 3-movie deal. So what happened to that? Well, after the film's release, the director of the movie, Emma Tammy, was interviewed by Variety on opening week, where they asked, Matthew Lillard confirmed he signed a 3-film contract for FNAF, so clearly there are plans for sequels. Where do you go from here, and how closely would you want to follow the games? To which she responded, we're definitely excited to keep making more movies in this world, should we be lucky enough to do that. This one was tied into the first game, Five Nights at Freddy's 1, and we would probably focus on tying the second one into the second game, and so on and so forth. Meaning that, as many predicted, the film, if it gets made, would actually probably be a prequel to the first game, since FNAF 2 takes place before FNAF 1, or at the very least, it would revolve around the second game's location, meaning toy animatronics, withered animatronics, Balloon Boy, and of course the puppet would be in it, which would make for a super interesting dynamic in movie form. Plus, in other interviews with places like Fandango, she was asked, I was wondering where you would like to see these sequels go and whether you would be interested in directing them. With her responding, I would absolutely be very interested in continuing to direct a sequel. Building stories in this world, building stories with these characters that I now feel not just in love with, but invested in. I would love to see where they go. So it seems like the movie is definitely already getting ready, and some other reports / rumors stated that the sequel already had a script that was now being edited to fix some of the issues had with the first movie, which is super cool. Although in terms of release dates, I don't really have too many estimations. Maybe we can expect an announcement in 2024, but the movie probably wouldn't release until the 2025 to 2027 era, if I had to guess. In the meantime, though, with FNAF Help 1 and 2 releasing and the FNAF movie already being out, a lot of people have been wondering what is going to be next for the franchise, specifically in the next year. And while I have a whole video planned to what's going on next year, something I found very interesting while researching is that in previous videos, there were some Scholastic promos in the second half of the year where they talked all about Five Nights at Freddy's, saying that August 2024 is the 10th anniversary of Five Nights at Freddy's and will be supported with marketing initiatives from licensing agent Stryker and, more importantly, game publisher Steelwool Studios. So now, with Help 1 and 2 being the last games Steelwool has announced to be working on, this must mean that whatever this marketing initiative coming next year is, they are most likely already beginning to work on it as we speak. I don't know if it's going to be book related, because of course this was from Scholastic, or if this means there's an entirely new game coming down the pipeline, but with it being the 10th anniversary, I imagine it's going to be something pretty big. For instance, there's been a ton of rumors that the next Steelwool game will take place in Fredbear's Family Diner, especially as other companies like Click Team have already started teasing other games coming out in the next year as well. I know Steelwool generally takes years to make even manageable titles like Security Breach, so I hope whatever this is, it ends up being cool despite the somewhat strict time constraint. But in the meantime, check out this video about a couple of other games coming in the next year for FNAF and subscribe.